good morning to all of you that are on the road or in your living rooms. All of you, we welcome you here in spirit and glad you're tuning in. I just was so grateful. A couple of weeks ago, I got an email from King Kevin, who is always the king of creation, and you can do this, who said, "Could you do a talk on faith?" And I said to myself, that's a small word seemingly, but it's actually not a small word at all. Can I take this challenge on? Heck yes, let's go, let's do it. Yeah. And so, thank you this morning. So, just before we get going here, I would just like to center this group of beautiful, beautiful, those of you souls that gather here, those of you that are new, welcome. But we just take a moment, please, and just sort of sink into your seat. I'd love to invite you to simply close your eyes and take a collective breath with one another, a nice, sweet, and deep breath in, and release with just a soft and gentle sigh. Let yourself arrive right here, right now. Feel your feet upon the floor and your breath moving through your body, and the quiet presence that fills this space. Whatever you carried in with you, you can set it down for a little while. There's nothing to fix. There is nothing to figure out. Just this moment to simply be. Feel the peace in that. And from this place of stillness, let's pray this together. Beloved presence, we pause and take this breath together, breathing in peace, breathing out all that no longer serves us. We open this sacred space with gratitude, the gratitude for simple gifts of just being here, for the breath that sustains us, and for the unseen grace that has guided every step of our journey to this present moment. May this gathering become a sanctuary of stillness where each heart feels safe to open and each soul feels seen and loved. We invite your wisdom to move gently among us, clearing what is heavy, softening what is rigid, and awakening the deep knowing that all is unfolding in divine order. May our hearts be receptive. May our minds be spacious. May our spirits attune to the quiet rhythm of faith. For what has been, for what is, and for what is coming, we give thanks. And so it is. So today I want to speak to you about the deep power of faith. I thought about it a lot, and I made 4 quadrants, and I wrote all the stuff. And I didn't want to forget a thing, so it's on the paper. But know that my heart is here with you in all of this, that this is a small word, but it holds an expansive energy that I think we all can remember. Faith begins where control ends. Before we can move mountains, we need to be willing to stand solidly and say, this too is part of my path. Real faith doesn't begin with striving, it begins with a sense of surrender. That quiet moment when we stop and we discontinue fighting what is and start trusting what might be forming under the surface. Acceptance doesn't mean to give up. It means to open up. It is saying to Source, I don't have to understand this. I just know that you're here in the center of it. When we learn to accept life as it is, We make room for grace to move. We stop forcing and we start flowing. Every unanswered prayer, every delay, and every detour begins to look a lot less like a mistake and more like a divine choreography. Acceptance is not weakness. It's a spiritual strength that allows us to stay peaceful even while everything seems to be shifting. So we begin this journey of faith not by demanding to find a different story, but by finding peace right in the story that is right here and right now. Because until we can be okay with what is, we don't truly have the room for what is to be. And as I compiled this gentle reminder of what faith can expansively be in our lives, I thought about my youngest daughter. My husband and I have 5 blended family children, 4 girls and a boy. And our youngest daughter just turned 40, and a couple of years ago had her 3rd beautiful baby, and we named him Rise. And in the 3rd month of his life, her partner came home and said, "I don't want to do this anymore," and left the family unit to go do his own thing. Was it midlife crisis? Perhaps. Whatever the reasoning for the move away, she was left grieving for the family she thought was intact and was balanced and was all the things it needed to be, and was on her own. And she dove down deep into the deepest of suffering. Postpartum had a thing to do with it, I'm sure, but this child of ours grieved so deeply, became so dysregulated that I would frequently pack my car, throw in my guitar, and drive 9 hours to Northern California to sit with her, to speak to her of all the things that I knew were true of her grace and her bright light and her ability to create and her ability to be a flourishing woman, her tribe of incredible women that stand up and support her in all things. Oh, she is so much like her mother that I am so grateful for that reflection. Where are you? Come back to me. She did not. She dove deeper. And the deeper she dove, the more dysregulated she became. And the more dysregulated she became, the more dysregulated her children became. And so again, I jump in the car and head back down and again hold them all in the energy of faith that it wasn't okay in this moment, but I know that it is coming. I know that in the timing that is not mine, and really I don't think was even hers, that she had to feel it all fully first, every bit of it. And she did not come back around until she did. In the last 6 months, I have watched this woman come into her own, become flourishing in the business that she let sit aside. Watched her children take great delight in mom's light was back on and the regulation of the family with her as the solo mama without all of the things that were gone. Became so alive. And my last trip was a trip of celebration. I went down thinking that I was still going to see the remnants of it, but I promise you, there was a clear pathway. Her faith brought her through. And for that, I am forever grateful. And so I really reflected on the faith that I had, knowing that she would find her way. And seeing the faith in her at long last to recognize that she could be whole again. When I am at peace with what is, I make space for what is next. That peace beyond her own understanding was a beautiful key to her healing process. And for me, it bolstered my faith in knowing that even though it looks dark, I can trust in the divine power of faith and source to take us through, to be with us through. Faith trusts the timing, and this is what I found. Faith isn't just about this promise that source will provide, but it's the trust that source has perfect and divine timing. So much of our spiritual frustration comes with wanting things to unfold faster than divine order allows. But faith understands that timing has its own intelligence, that there is a season for planting, there is a season for harvesting, there is a season to be still. And there's a season to sing our songs. Right, Soulshine? Right. We can trust in this timing, even though we may not see what it would look like at the end. We can trust being in the center of the movement because everything is moving. Every moment of waiting is sacred ground. Something unseen is taking shape, not only around us, but within us. Faith says, I don't have to rush this. I can rest in the rhythm of divine order. Doesn't that feel good? To rest in the rhythm of divine order. When we learn to wait without worry, we stop trying to push the river and we start floating in its flow. For somebody that doesn't swim, that might be a big ask. But I know in that river, I will be floating in the flow. It takes deep trust to release our timeline and align with Source. But when we do, we discover that divine timing never fails us. It fulfills us. It brings things not when we're ready to receive them, but when we've become the person who can hold them. Turn to your neighbor and say, even in stillness, there is purpose. Nothing is wasted in divine timing. I know it's 2 sentences, but I know you can do it. I'll repeat it one more time. Let's do it together. Even in stillness, there is a purpose. Nothing is wasted in divine timing. Nothing is wasted in divine timing. I have faith that you will all come back in this moment after a delightful discourse with each other, however brief. So sweet. I want to talk now about faith in the middle. The hardest place for faith is in the middle, in the soup of my daughter's sorrow, in the day-to-day dysregulation and hardship and suffering. That was the place that faith really I had to dig deep for. Between what was and what will be, that place in the middle. It's easy to believe at the beginning when hope is fresh, and then at the end when outcome is near. But in the middle, faith feels like a choice that we keep having to make over and over and over again. Faith in the middle says, I may not see the finish line, but I still know that I am on the path. That's faith. It's that steady trust that carries us through uncertainty. When the waves are high, when the prayers seem unanswered, when the story feels unfinished, that's when faith shows her true strength. because faith doesn't move the storm, it steadies us inside it. If we can learn to be at peace in the middle, we free ourselves from fear. We no longer need proof to know that divine order is working. We find rest not after the resolution, but right here in this moment. In the unknowing, in the unfolding. And that is where faith becomes real. The question of faith isn't, will this work out? But rather, can I be okay while it's still working out? Last week, William had a great talk on gratitude. Just to be clear, Kevin got a hold of me a couple of weeks ago and said, can you do this on faith? And so when he spoke of gratitude, I felt, we are really in the flow, because my next process here is faith flowing through gratitude. And so this congregation knows what they know. You have a gnosis about the power of gratitude in your life. And thank you, William, for bringing and driving that home for us in such a magnificent and clear way. If you missed that talk, please go back. It's recorded. It's a worthy bit of information for us all. And believe me, I walked away just knowing that having gratitude before the outcome had so much powerful authority in my life, and that I could lean on that and have faith in that. When we stop asking why and start saying thank you, something in the universe shifts. Gratitude turns faith into flow. It changes our prayers from pleading to praising, from striving to trusting. And when we give thanks for what is and what is still forming, then we are aligning ourselves with divine order. Divine order. Gratitude is the language of faith. It's how we can say to the universe, I believe that the good that is coming is already moving towards me. It is on its way. I have faith and I believe that it is. This is how we train our hearts to see blessings before they fully appear. Every breath of gratitude deepens our connection with Source, and it reminds us that everything is unfolding, that even the uncomfortable parts have purpose. The moment we start giving thanks, even before the outcome, we become co-creators with Source. We're not forcing a result. We're harmonizing with the natural law of abundance and of grace. Gratitude opens the door for peace to enter because it shifts our focus from what's missing to what is already in motion. Gratitude is the language of faith. Turn to your neighbor and let them know that. Gratitude is the language of faith. Gratitude is the language of faith. Whoa. And now I want to talk to you about how faith becomes peace. What a great language it is, too, isn't it? To be grateful and let faith stand in its motion. When faith ripens, it becomes peace. I thought that was pretty good. What do you think about that? When our faith ripens, it becomes peace. I danced around the kitchen on that one. Doug, when faith ripens, it becomes peace. Should I keep it? He goes, yeah, good way to start. It no longer is about hoping for change. It's about knowing that change is already happening in divine and right order. Peace is the fruit of faith fully grown. I just found another one. Peace is the fruit of faith fully grown. In other words, it's maturing. I love that too. So, yeah, I know, because that's a mic drop, but I don't want to stop. It's that deep, steady calm that whispers, I don't have to fix this. I can rest in the wisdom that is holding it all together. What a beautiful process that is, to stand in our faith in that way. This is where faith stops becoming something we practice and begins to be something that we live. Another way to say that would be perhaps we embody it. That it is a part of our everyday moving through life. It isn't the arduous practice, I got to do that again, but it's in you. I wish that for all of you. I seek that in myself, to be embodied with the faith that knows that mountains are moving, and I just have to hold that gnosis. It's no longer an effort. It becomes a natural state of being. We start to trust the flow of life, not because we're giving up, but because we've learned how to simply give over to faith. We realize that everything, even the challenges, are part of a larger harmony. When faith becomes peace, it relaxes our heart. Our minds become quiet and our spirits open. We no longer ask, when will this be over? And instead, we say how much we hope, love in this moment, that just as it is. I can be okay with what is. That is the true freedom of faith. To live in a place of peace with what is, knowing that all is well. So here you go. Ready? Turn to your neighbor and say, when faith ripens, it becomes peace. When faith ripens, it becomes peace. Can you see me standing in the living room doing the... Woo! Woo! That's it. In a closing reflection, I'd like to just say to you that there comes a moment in every journey when faith invites us to stop reaching and simply to rest. And then to ask, can I be okay with what is? Do I have the faith to do this? Stand in the center of being okay with exactly what is. That question isn't about giving up, it's about surrendering to divine order. The quiet intelligence that moves through everything. It remembers that even what feels incomplete is a part of something unfolding perfectly. Okay, I got this one, you're going to love this one. When this one came to me, like, okay, did I make this up or is this a quote from somewhere? I don't know, but I'm going to give it to you. The seed doesn't rush to become a flower, yet the flower already is within. Ooh, right? Ooh. I know, right? I'm going to read it to you again because it's profound. I want you to remember it. In fact, you might have to say it before I'm done. The seed does not rush to become a flower, and yet the flower is already within it. Isn't that beautiful? Can you see how unfolding through faith looks just like that? The seed that already is holding the flower. Everything is in motion, not random motion, but sacred motion. When we practice faith from this place, our prayers shift. Instead of asking for things to be different, we begin to thank God, Source, Creator, the universe, whomever you hold in the sacred space of creation, that I'm going to be grateful for what is today. We express gratitude not just for outcomes, but for the processes themselves, for the timing, for the lessons, for the unseen shaping that's happening beneath the surface. When faith becomes less about fixing life and more about flowing with it, it becomes a gentle trust that wherever we stand right here and right now is exactly where divine love knows we need to be. True faith embodies this mystery. And I thank you.